Allah, 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 Allah.
So the two realms connected together. And God, He's not in the past or future, He's here and now. And this is why you try to development of this great teaching is to try to control the mind activities from a jumping, head of itself to the future, or worry too much about the past. So you try to bring these two parts together and make them as one. So you're not split to three parts, 1/3 in the future, in the past and the present, but you are totally in the present. So that means you plan whatever you need to plan, but also when you are practicing your spiritual teaching, you have to focus that this moment I could go anywhere. It's not if you are there half, with your mind and your mind somewhere else. The same with I think one of the stories has been narrated, a Sufi man who Allah have illuminated his heart. He went to a mosque for prayer. As he was praying, he locked in on the mind of the man, the Imam who was leading the prayer. The Imam who was leading the prayer, he was saying Allahu Akbar, he wanted to pray, but at the same time he was thinking about other things. He went to this country, he went to that country, traveling here, there, through his mind. So after the prayer is finished, he asked him, the Sufi, he said, amazing, he said, what kind of a prayer that you do for God? He said, I start with you, we start here, and then you took us to this place, and you took us there. So he was linked up with his thoughts, and the man, his thought was all over the place. And this is why when we perform any spiritual practice, we're supposed to focus on that spiritual practice and try to understand every word, and then focus on the method, that is how to implement the particular actions. I will not continue any further. They're joining within Allah and from Allah, by Allah, and all of this. But it's a little bit of time left, so we could ask questions. If anyone have a question, perhaps you could ask. If you want to ask from the chart, it is there. We could, if it is possible, we could answer your questions. So you are welcome to ask your questions. Don't feel shy. They say, there's a saying in Arabic, they say, increase the number of your questions and don't increase your wandering around. Because if you ask, for example, where is Elizabeth Street? Someone is just out there. But if you try to find it yourself, you'll be running here, but by the time you find it, you will be in Glonoki. So asking a sign of seeking knowledge, because the seeking knowledge has been said that every human being who seeks knowledge is still learning knowledge till he say I know. When he say I know, he slammed the door of knowledge, because you're saying there is I know everything, that's it, I don't need to know anything else. And by saying this, you are putting yourself by God. You say I am God, I know everything, thank you, I don't need to know anything. This is called stupidity and arrogance. And that's why in Tasawwuf they say that the person, he may practice his teaching and benefit from the teaching, and then till he stops. When he stops, what he loses by stopping is more than what he achieved for all of his life. So constantly you are moving. So you have to be aware, you have to bring constantly more of yourself in the teaching.
Sheikh, you spoke before about a religious man being able to reach the first 3 stages, but then he needs somebody to take his hand and show him further. How important is that relationship between a teacher and a student on the path, and what responsibilities does each one have towards the other?
This is through the grace and the love of Allah that He gave. Doesn't make us all the same. Everyone have a different need, and especially when it comes to a spiritual need. Some people, they need certain amount of a spiritual food. Some people, they will be happy with just a sandwich of a spiritual food. There is, for example, this state we talked about, the realities of Muhammad. People, they love the Holy Prophet so much, but they're not conscious actually of the inner method. He had communication in the spiritual realm, will give them the directions, give them the name, address, where to go, and he will tell them. Signs and visions that the person's actually, he will be connected to what we said earlier, connected to a chain of the people of the hand, to this inner teaching. But the person who, they said when Allah, He loves someone, He gives him to the Sufis. Because the Sufi, they are master of love. Their aim is to bring the seeker of the truth to not just to the door, but to the gates of love itself. And as the Sheikh, one of the great saints, he said, they beautify you, do everything for you, and then to bring you right to the front of them and say, that is you and this is your God, go. So there is nothing between you and the divine presence. So the individual who, through the grace of Allah, he finds tariqah, that it is, the key to it is, of course, is a respect. We say respect because this is the starting point. Respect, and then of course is love, and then divine passions. And this 3, meaning you start to see there is certain reality within your murshid, the one who's guiding you. Without that trust, that love, exactly, you cannot have trouble anywhere. So sooner it is something, you start to reject any of what he's saying. It's not here we say this, meaning he become a God, but this is based on trust and based on love. And that's what we said earlier, that the ego self will not develop without letting go. And he cannot let go till he loves someone and trusts someone. And for this, of course, the responsibilities, for example, with other people, that one always speak with respect in regard to his teacher. It's just as a common sense practice. But in regard to the individuals who, or the seeker of a truth, or the one who become murid, he have a greater responsibility. This responsibility, of course, practicing the awrad, the method, the spiritual practice, and then also there is meditations, contemplations, and there is tasawwur. Tasawwur, visualizations. So visualizations is actually start seeing through your teacher. You'll be able to see, become like a window for you to see reality.